On June 3rd, 1981, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, police received a phone call from a man with a whiny, high-pitched voice saying, "God damn, will you find me? I just stabbed someone with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody." Later, police found a woman dead in a field with over 60 stab wounds. The caller's voice was so unique that the police felt like somebody would recognize him, as they shared the phone calls with the news, receiving numerous tips, but the killer's identity could not be provided. However, this wouldn't be the last time that the killer would call and taunt the police. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. Paul Michael Stephani was born on September 8, 1944 in Austin, Minnesota, growing up on a 5-acre plot with his mother, stepfather, and siblings. His mother remarried when he was 3 years old. Stephani claimed that his stepfather was sometimes abusive. If the children got in his stepfather's way, Stephani alleged that he would sometimes smack them in the head and throw them down the stairs. After high school, Stephani moved to St. Paul and began work as a shipping clerk and janitor. He was briefly married and had a daughter, but eventually divorced his wife and left his child behind. It was around this time where his attacks on women started. On June 3rd, 1981, 18-year-old Kimberly Compton moved to the Twin Cities from Wisconsin to look for a job. That same day, she was brutally murdered. A group of teenagers came across her body while hanging out in a field in St. Paul. Compton had been stabbed with an ice pick 61 times. Within 48 hours, police received a haunting call. In a high-pitched, remorseful voice, the anonymous caller confessed to having committed the crime. At first, police thought it might be a prank call, until he identified the murder weapon, which the police hadn't revealed to the media yet.
"Oh, you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody."
Police looked through their records and connected the call to another anonymous tip from months earlier where someone had reported attacking a young woman named Karen Potak and leaving her on the side of the road. On New Year's Day 1981, someone with a weepy voice had called the police at 3 in the morning, begging them to come help a girl who'd been hurt.
"Yes, please, this is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Molenberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there."
Can you tell me what happened to her?
"Just hurry, she's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the edge here. Hurry."
What's the address?
"I don't know."
Who are you?
Police rushed to the scene and found 20-year-old college student Karen Potak naked in the snow, with traumatic head wounds that left her brain exposed. She had been bludgeoned several times with a tire iron. Miraculously, Potak survived, but her brain damage was so severe that she couldn't remember her attack. The police had reached a dead end. The killer contacted police so often that investigators felt there was an excellent opportunity that someone would recognize his voice. On several occasions, media broadcast stations aired recordings of the phone calls from the now weepy-voiced killer. Police received over 100 calls from the public, but the recordings were so short and distorted with emotion that they failed to provide any identity of the murderer. Several times his phone calls were traced by emergency operators, once to a bar near a bus station depot, and once to a downtown phone booth. When the police arrived, he was gone. On August 6, 1982, a paperboy while out on his paper route discovered another woman's body sprawled out on the banks of the Mississippi River. The victim was soon identified as 40-year-old nurse Barbara Simons. 2 days later, Stephani called the police again.
Fire emergency.
"Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one over at St. Paul. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick. I'm going to kill myself, I think.
Where are you?
If somebody dies with a red shirt on, it's me. I killed both of you. I'm sorry. I'll never make it to heaven." "Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton. I couldn't help it. Don't know why I had to stab her. I am so upset about it. I keep getting drunk every night. I can't believe it. It's just like a big dream. I can't think of being locked up. If I get locked up, I'll kill myself. I'd rather kill myself than get locked up. I'll try not to kill anybody else."
Stephani and Simons had met at the Hexagon bar and engaged in conversation after Stephani asked her for a cigarette. After spending the night at the bar with Stephani, Simons told a waitress, "He's cute. I hope he's nice since he's giving me a ride home." She was found dead the next day. Based on the waitress's description, police were able to identify Paul Michael Stephani as a suspect. They began tailing him, installing a surveillance team outside his apartment to keep an eye on him. Digging into his background, police discovered Stephani had worked at the Malmberg Manufacturing Company, where Kodak had been attacked on New Year's Day. Paul was able to evade the police supervision for a short time. During this, on August 21st, 1982, in Minneapolis, he picked up 19-year-old sex worker Denise Williams. She sensed something was wrong when Stephani began driving through a dark suburban area rather than returning her back to the city where he picked her up. Paul then stopped on a dead-end road and pulled out a screwdriver, stabbing Denise 15 times. However, she was able to break a glass bottle over his head, causing cuts to his head and face. As she screamed, a nearby man saw Stephani trying to stab her again, and he tackled him, and Stephani fled the scene. The man called for an ambulance and later helped identify Stephani. When Paul returned home to his apartment, he noticed that he was bleeding badly and sought medical help, saying, "I need an ambulance. I'm all cut up. I got beat up and I'm bleeding." It was this call that confirmed Stephani was the Weepy-Face killer and linked him to the Williams attack. As police interviewed him, Stephani claimed that he was the victim of a robbery. Detective Don Brown of the Minneapolis Police Department confronted Stephani with the Weepy-Face killer case file containing photos of the victims. Stephani got up from his seat and said, "You're not going to pin those on me," and his voice immediately changed. He went to a high pitch. Right away, it struck me as the voice I had heard on the recordings, Detective Brown said. This led to him being connected to the murder of Barbara Simons. He always denied, reporter Caroline Lowe said. Even though he called and confessed and told people where to find these victims, he always denied that he had committed the crimes. While investigating his background, Detective Brown learned Stephani previously had a girlfriend who ended up returning to her home country of Syria for an arranged marriage. This upset Stephani very much. When Stephani was attacking his victims, I believe he was attacking his former girlfriend because he felt so betrayed by what she did to him, Detective Brown said. Paul Stephani's ex-wife, his sister, and a woman who lived with him at the time all testified at his trial in 1983, saying that they believed that he was the caller. He was sentenced to 18 years for attacking Williams and another 40 years for the murder of Simons. 14 years after his trial, Stephani was diagnosed with melanoma and told that he only had months to live. Faced with this news, he finally stopped denying. On December 19th, 1997, he confessed to the 2 attacks he had been charged with. He also confessed to murdering Kimberly Compton and attacking Karen Podak, telling the Star Tribune, "Since I've been locked up the last 15 years, I wondered how all this could happen. All I can say is I'm sick and I'm sorry, if sorry means anything after 15 years. I mean, it doesn't." Stephani confessed to a 3rd murder, which was previously unsolved. On July 21st, 1982, he drowned 33-year-old Kathleen Greening in her bathtub. In subsequent interviews with the media, Stephani offered no insight into his motivations behind the killings, but he said there was a voice in his head that told him, "Paul, it's time to kill." He also divulged that after one of the murders, he went to a Catholic church and sat in the back of the pew and cried. "Mother always told me, if something hurts you, go to God," Stephani said. Stephani died on June 12, 1998. He was 53 years old. I think the biggest thing about this case is when people try to say when he was calling the police that, oh, it was remorse. He felt remorseful. I feel like he was just taunting. He was taunting the police. Because there's no way you're so sorry. Oh, woe is me. Oh, I killed another girl. No, you're going to fight. Like, he's taunting the police and he's reveling in just all the attention that it's getting. Because he's calling the police, acting like he's crying, telling them exactly where he is, telling the police exactly where the bodies are. Like, he wants the attention. This is an attention grab. I don't feel like this is remorse, because if it was remorse, you wouldn't have waited 15 years to tell the police about the other 2 murders. You wouldn't have waited. You had 3 other attacks, 2 that resulted in women in death. You waited until you were about to die to be like, oh, let me just confess now since I'm about to die. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that he was remorseful. He wasn't, because he would have admitted all that right away. If he was really remorseful, he would have. He wouldn't have called and felt sorry on the phone, but then kept killing. You know what I mean? I don't buy that remorse stuff. I don't buy it. Like, you can't feel remorseful after you call and say you're sorry and then keep doing it again. But I don't know. It's just wild. Like, I feel like he just wanted attention. I feel like this was like an attention grab. Like, he just wanted just to feel like he was important, to feel like he was somebody. That's really what I get from this. That's really the biggest thing I get from this case. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support you guys give me on this channel, man. Like, you guys really support me like crazy on this channel. I really appreciate all you guys. Like, I really do. But thank you again. Leave a like if you enjoyed this story. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm out. Peace.